Going into high school, I didn't have the best group of friends to begin with. I just had friends who I could just sit and be around with, and so I wouldn't feel lonely and everything like that. And so the conversations we had at lunchtime, something like that, I never really approved of what we were talking about, but like I said, I just didn't want to be lonely. Like, who wants to be one of the kids sitting by themselves at lunch? So it was around the time of the winter formal, and it was like a couple weeks before, then everyone was like asking, oh, who's going with who, you know what? And so this guy who I just sat and ate lunch with started like hardcore flirting with me, and I'm like, well, this is weird, like I don't really like him like that, things. And I told my friend at the time that I didn't like him like that. 2 weeks before winter formal, I remember sitting at lunch with them, and they were talking about like, oh, who's going with who, whatnot, and I was just tuning them out, listening to my music. And I remember him saying, oh, there's this girl I like, and I don't think she likes me back. And my friend, who I specifically told I do not like him, like please try to just turn him away from me, said, oh, ask her, I bet she'll say yes. He turns to me, and he said, hey, do you want to go to the winter formal together? And I act like I didn't hear him. I just had my earbuds in my ears, and I just tuned them out. And then later in lunch, another group of guys come in and everything, and they kind of retell the whole story, and they were like, oh, what's your answer? What did you say and everything? Like, are you going to go? And I remember one of the guys was like, yeah, you guys can totally go together, and then you can go hang out in the never-ending staircase, which for my school, the never-ending staircase was the one place you had sex on school. It was the one place that had no security cameras and that the security guards hardly went into. And that was like the place on campus, I guess, during school hours that you could have sex. And I was like, I don't want this, and so I just got up and I left. So later the night, find out that while I was outside, the guys that were at the table talked about how the only reason why I left was because they knew that they would never be able to get me to bed. And so it became a competition to them. And it became a challenge to see who could get me in bed first. And the next day at lunch, I get there and all the guys are surrounding me and everything, and it gets really inappropriate really fast. I started eating lunch in the library. I would just grab at the commons, run as fast as possible to the opposite end of the school, eat lunch in the library by myself. I always made it look like I was too busy studying and whatnot. But the guys in that group continued to abuse me verbally. They tried to like blackmail me. They got away with it for 2 years. And 11th grade, my brother had entered high school, and my brother's my best friend. So by that point, he stood up for me. He defended myself. He's defended me, and I sat with him and his friends and everything the rest of the high school. But going through that for 2 years and feeling like you're not worth anything. College comes around, and I end up going to the private Christian college. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be better. Like, life is gonna be better. Like, maybe the guys there would treat me right and everything. And it's not that they didn't treat me right. I mean, they were sweet and everything. But freshman year was just hard for me overall and so challenging that everything that could have gone wrong freshman year of college did. And I was so down on myself and everything that piled on. I'm like, I'm done. Like, there's no more point for me. Like, I can continue to go to college. Like, that's fine. And I can get the degree and just get the piece of paper, but there was no more point. There was no more point in me continuing on because I felt that worthless. Sophomore year comes around, and it's beginning of first semester sophomore year, and I remember my teacher. I'm sitting in the art department just working on photography homework, and he walks in and he's like, hey, I'm going on a trip in October with me and another student and a teacher. You want to go? And I'm like, yes. I don't think it back. I don't remember why I said yes. I just said yes. It's like those like just jumping and see what happens type of moments. And so he's like, cool, I'll give you more information later, and I'll see you then. And so he left, and I'm like, what the heck did I just sign up for? So I figured out who the other student was going to be, and we had like a meeting and everything. And I remember distinctly, I hadn't talked to the other student that I was going with before this. Like, I know in theory he was in my intro to film class, but I don't remember him at all. And everything, and in the meeting, he seemed like he knew what he was doing, that he had it all together, and he's the one who talked most of the meeting. And I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. On the van ride out to the airport, because I was in the back, and I was praying the whole time, like, God, I don't know what's gonna happen. But I pray whoever this other student is that I'm with, that he doesn't completely destroy me. That the way life was going up to that point, I felt pretty down, and my natural thought was gonna be like, oh, he's just gonna add to the mess. He's just going to continue to tear me down and everything, and I've mentally prepared myself for any abuse that would come. But what I didn't prepare myself for was what actually happened. He was going to meet us in Salt Lake City because he had to be somewhere else at that point. And so me, my teacher, and the other teacher we were with flew to Salt Lake City. The other student had landed before, so he was waiting for us. And I still remember the first thing he said to me. And I get off the plane, and I have my backpack, I have my carry-on suitcase, and I have my one of the cameras we were taking. And he walks up to me and he says, "Hey, can I get that camera case for you?" And that took me by surprise, because I'm like, wait, you want to carry something that I'm carrying? Most of the time it's the other way around. Most of the time the guys are like, "Here, you carry this for me and I will see you later," sort of thing. And so I was like, "No, I got it. I mean, they both have wheels, no big deal." And so we go down, we get our rental car, and all the camera equipment and everything's just in a pile. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And we start to leave, and I distinctly remember he races to get to the camera case before me so that way he could carry it and I didn't have to. And I was like, okay, what is wrong with this guy? Like, no guy has ever done that before in my life. No guy that I have known my age. I mean, like, adults do that and everything, but like, no guy my age would race to go get a camera case with that I didn't have to carry it, sort of thing. And so I was really taken aback by that, and I'm like, okay, so this is totally weird. And the rest of the trip, I kind of just like, okay, God, I don't know what's going to happen. You put me with a student who is not like any other guys I know, and I'm just going to see what happens. And that turned out to be one of the biggest life-changing trips in my life. That's where my perspective of my major turned around. I realized that I'm maybe not as bad as this as I had first thought. The view of myself just generally improved. And so the guy I was on the trip with, we had more projects for the rest of the semester, so we worked on them, and like normal, he would carry most of the camera equipment for us and everything, and he was a great guy to work with, super easy. And so one of the biggest things I learned from him especially is the fact that God values us and everything, because the way he talks about God, the way he lives his life, the way he has his faith and everything is to me that there's a God who does love us, that there's a God who values us, who finds us worthy and everything. And at the time when I'm feeling so down and so unworthy, just to know that there's a God who loves us, there's a God who cares about us, who literally sent his son on the cross to die for us, a story that I have known my whole life, I need to be reminded of. God showed me through this relationship and other relationships I've created since then, adult, that there are people out there who do care about you, who are godly people who want to listen to you and your struggles and everything, and that there are people out there who do find worth in you, and that you don't have to be perfect. You can embarrass yourself completely, 100%, and that there's people out there who still do care. God's plan, God's unexpected plan, God's alternative ending.